Well, hi there and welcome. My name is Rebecca Weaver, and we're going to be looking at some geometry applications today. First up, rectangles. Now we've got a rectangle here, and you can call whichever side you want, the length or the width, it doesn't really matter. But the perimeter is going to be the distance around the figure. So if you started walking at one corner and you walked all the way around, you'd say the perimeter was equal to, I just started at a corner, like say up here at the top, and I walked the width, then the length, then the width, and then the length. And if you add all that up, and I like to use just single letters because it makes it look better, I just write P equals W plus L plus W plus L, and that would equal perimeter is 2W plus 2L. But I don't have to simplify it like that if I don't want to. I can leave it as W plus L plus W plus L. That's okay too. Now the area, that's the surface that's inside the rectangle. Say you wanted to carpet that rectangle or you wanted to paint it. It is that surface that you would need to paint. The area equals the length times the width. And of course, I don't want to write all that. I'm lazy. Capital A equals L times W. So let's look at an example. If the length is 32 meters and the width is 20 meters, what's the perimeter and what's the area? Well, let's just do each one. I'll take the formula. Perimeter equals 2 times W plus 2 times L. Plop in those numbers for W and L, width and length. And I get perimeter is 2 times 20 plus 2 times 32. Perform those operations, and I would get that the perimeter is 104 meters. All right, so that would be how far I'd have to walk if I walked all the way around. The area is length times width. That would be 32 times 20. So 32 meters times 20 meters is 640 meters squared. That would be the amount of carpet that I would need, 640 square meters if I was to carpet this rectangle. Let's look at some triangles. Got a nice little triangle here. The sides are labeled A, B, and C. Any sort of triangle doesn't really matter. The height is how tall it is from the base to the top point there. The perimeter is still the distance around the figure. So the perimeter, the way I have this labeled, would just be equal to A plus B plus C. And writing it in my shorthand, I just like to write capital P equals A plus B plus C. Area is still the surface that's inside, in this case inside the triangle. Area is 1/2 the base times the height. Shorthand way of writing that is area equals 1/2 B times H. This is a fun little thing. Do you know that the sum of the interior angles of a triangle is 180? So the measure of angle A plus the measure of angle B plus the measure of angle C equals 180. We typically represent that with capital A, B, and C, those angles. And they're just, you just label them wherever you want to. It's random as to how you label A, B, and C, nothing in particular. All right, so let's do a few examples. We're going to find the distance around a figure. So I have a triangle here. One of the sides is 5 feet. The next side is 5.2 feet, and the remaining side is 5 feet. The height of this triangle is 4.3 feet. If I were to find the perimeter, it would just be walking around this triangle, adding up 5 plus 5.2 plus 5, and I would get that the perimeter equals 15.2 feet. Area would be equal to 1/2 base times height. So for this, I would substitute in area equals 1/2. The base is 5.2 times 4.3, which is the height. This would get me 11.2 feet squared when I computed those numbers, when I did that computation. The interior angles, what could they do here? They could say, well, the measure of angle A is 58 degrees and the measure of angle B is 61 degrees. Find the measure of angle C. So you would just substitute in those values, 58 degrees plus 61 degrees plus the measure of angle C equals 180. Simplify. 119 degrees plus the measure of angle C equals 180 degrees. Subtract 119 degrees from both sides, and I would get that the measure of angle C is 61 degrees. Let's look at a special kind of triangle, a right triangle. You could say that we definitely are going to have a 90-degree angle. That's what separates a right triangle from just any old triangle. It's a specific kind of triangle. The hypotenuse is that side that is opposite the 90-degree angle. The A and B, you can call them whatever you want to, but that hypotenuse must be labeled C for the formulas that we're going to be using. Perimeter is still the distance around. Perimeter is still base plus height plus hypotenuse, or A plus B plus C, whatever it is you want to call them. Area is still the surface that's inside the triangle. We still have the area equals 1/2 the base times the height. Nothing changes. This is just a triangle. Area equals 1/2 B times H. Now, Pythagorean theorem, he is only valid for right triangles. This doesn't work for anything but a right triangle. And if A equals 5 centimeters and B equals 12 centimeters, what's the hypotenuse? Well, here is the Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. You would plop in those values for A and B. 5 squared plus 12 squared equals C squared. Compute 25 plus 144 equals C squared. I would get the C squared is 169, and then using my calculator, I would take the square root of both sides, getting C equal to 13 centimeters. And that is all we have for today. You have a wonderful day, and if you have any questions, be sure and email me. Thank you.